Well, there she is, the Oroville Spillway, Phase 1 complete, November 1st, 2017. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blanco Lirio channel. All you naysayers and folks that said it couldn't be done, you haven't studied your California history enough to know that California didn't become the 9th largest economy in the world and not be able to handle monumental engineering projects like this. Especially when you cut out the red tape, you can get her done. Phase 1 complete. Phase 2 is going to continue on to January of 2019, and I'll continue to report progress throughout that time frame. Got a little bit of rain coming on Friday, but just some minor cleanup work left to do here on the spillway as it's ready for 100,000 CFS. Of course, the lake is way down to 695 feet, and the water doesn't even get to the bottom of the gates here until 813 feet. So chances are they're not even going to use this spillway this year. Some of that work they have to finish up on is some dry finish of the concrete, some joint sealant, and some drain line work. That last crane you see up there in the spillway, they're going to disassemble it and send it through the floodgates, the main gates. Kiewit and DWR crews have put in hundreds of thousands of hours, something on the order of 720,000 hours, 0 injuries. Now let's talk about the cost to date. Original estimates were for the emergency portion of this incident. That cost was estimated at $275 million. The contract that was let out at 30% of design to Kiewit was for $275 million. You put those two together, $550 million was the total estimation. Right now to date, the Kiewit portion of that bill alone is estimated at $500 million. However, the emergency portion of this incident that estimate has gone way down to about $150 million. So that brings the whole total up to, let me do the quick math here, $650 million, right? Did I do that right? So to date, about $150 million over the original estimation. And that $500 million for Kiewit, that number gets us through to the end of Phase 2. However, that number can continue to grow up because, as you know, you're working in rocks here and things change. Just as I figured at the beginning of this emergency, this whole Oroville spillway incident has been a watershed event for all dam managers and water managers here in California and around the world. Oroville is going to get a comprehensive needs assessment following the completion of this project and reevaluate the entire situation here at Oroville and look at the long-term plan for how do we enhance the design here at Oroville to continue to enhance safety and to accommodate climate change. That needs assessment is going to be done approximately September of 2019. Also, statewide in California, a dam assessment, including 93 dams here in California, is underway, and improvements are being designed for 93 dams across the state of California, all because of what happened here. Let's go up in the mighty Luscombe now, take a look from above, and we'll discuss what all we learned in today's DWR press conference. Let's pop the window and get some fresh air. Oroville Reservoir and Shasta Reservoir to the north are the two keystone reservoirs for the California aqueduct system, the world's largest, most complicated aqueduct system that allows California to be the 6th largest economy in the world. It allows the Mediterranean climate of California, with blazing hot dry summers and flooding rains in the winter, working in conjunction with the snowpack in the Sierra, to tame the climate, stop the flooding, and provide water for millions in California, and provide irrigation water to the fertile Central Valley, the breadbasket of the world. 3,000 feet long and 180 feet wide, plunging nearly 600 feet at a slope of nearly 4-to-1 at its steepest, the rebuilt Oroville Spillway has over 3 times the amount of concrete, rebar, and drains than the original design. The completion of Phase 1 means the Oroville Spillway is capable of 100,000 CFS flow for this 2017-2018 flood season, the limiting factor being the height of the RCC walls in the RCC section of only 15 feet. After this year's flood season, Phase 2 for the Oroville Spillway means that all those sections that were not replaced with new structural concrete this year will be rebuilt with structural concrete next year. So for Phase 2 at the Oroville Spillway, that means the upper 730 feet of the spillway that was left in place for this year and repaired as necessary, that upper 730 feet will be completely demolished, removed, bedrock removed as necessary, and replaced with structural concrete. The RCC section, about 1,000 feet of it, the roller compacted concrete section, they're going to take the walls that are presently at about 15 feet and just go ahead and remove those right down to about flush with the bottom of the spillway. Then they got to remove that upper hardened layer. I think he said he got it up to about 6,000 psi. That's going to come off. And then this entire section will get replaced with structural concrete. The structural concrete section in Phase 2 will be built to match the structural concrete placed in Phase 1. Drains will be cut into the RCC to match the design of Phase 1, and these walls will be up to 30 feet, which will give you the final design flow capability of the spillway of 270,000 CFS. Again, not to be confused with the operational limit of about 160,000 CFS to prevent flooding downstream. And I asked Jeff Peterson of Kiewit Engineering about these walls, and they will be backfilled with soil, and also the structural concrete will be anchor bolted down into the RCC. Remember, in places, this RCC is nearly 150 feet deep where it crossed that main plunge pool, so it'll make anchor bolts quite that long, so that it will be anchor bolted to the RCC. Here's a closer view of the upper 730 feet of original spillway that was left in place this year, repaired, patched, and rock bolted down to bedrock. And of course, Phase 2 next year, this will be demolished and replaced with new structural concrete. The gate structure to the right there has been inspected and repaired as necessary. And here's a closer view of the center roller compacted concrete section of spillway. You can see the walls step down to 15 feet. And they could technically run this spillway this flood season at more than 100,000 CFS. The water would just spill over these walls and make a big mess of things. So this whole section will get replaced with structural concrete next year in Phase 2. So why did the spillway get replaced in this fashion? Because of the incredible time constraints on this project. They had to balance the need with how much concrete they could place this year versus how much concrete they can place next year in between flood seasons. It was also because of these time constraints that they didn't want to radically alter the fundamental design of this spillway. They simply didn't have time to consider alternatives.
And finally, to the question of why rebuild the lower half of the spillway at all? Why not just let it flow down the natural new formed canyon? Why? Because of the Hyatt power plant. That water level in the Thermalito diversion pool shown here is very critical to the operation of the Hyatt power plant, and any additional debris blown into that Thermalito diversion pool will raise that water level, threatening to flood the Hyatt power plant and destroy it. So hats off to all the crews involved in this monumental engineering project. The entire world has been watching. And especially to those residents downstream that were directly impacted by this disaster, who suffered a very frightening and sudden emergency evacuation and months of uncertainty and misinformation.
Now, as we move from phase 1 of the operation at Oroville to phase 2, I'll be able to report a little bit less on the Oroville situation, probably once or twice a month. DWR will continue to have press briefings every 2 weeks on phase 2 of the Oroville Dam situation. So I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for your support up to this point, and I hope you stick around for phase 2 as well, and I'll plan on getting back to some of my more regularly scheduled programming here on the Blanco Lirio channel, just primarily things that I'm interested in that I think you'll find interesting as well. Being a full-time citizen journalist is a that's a lot of work, and that's I've learned so much during this whole episode here right now. So thanks again for all your great support, you know, all the great comments over the time, and of course we're going to continue all this. And I got these some funny fan mail over the year here. Did you see this one? Great cartoon character of me out there at Oroville. I'll get a still picture of this, some handwritten letters. A lot of folks, my demographic's pretty old here, so a lot of folks aren't into social media. They're still into actually writing stuff. And all kinds of great little comments along the way. And I'm very honored to say I won. This actually is the award-winning Blanco Lirio channel now, and there's the award. Communications and Outreach Award from the Floodplain Management Association of California, Nevada, and Hawaii for covering of the Oroville Dam and emergency spillway. So stay tuned. We'll get into phase 2 here. The reporting will be a little less frequent, but I got a huge backlog of other videos I've been wanting to get out, but Oroville kept getting in the way of it, and so stay tuned for all that. See you here.
Oscar 608, left base, full stop 25, Nevada County. Look out for them buzzards. Now somebody asked, do you always got to put it down on the numbers on this runway 25? No, you can land in the first third of the runway, but I enjoy the challenge. Getting her down in this hole here. With no flaps, you gotta use a little of that side slip. Hey, look, the convict crews are out cleaning up. Checking that airspeed. You get a little sinker down in here and then a floater off the end of the runway. Kill us a little bit more of that. Whoa. See, no excuses, and it's the worst landing ever. Felt like I was gonna stub my toe on the end there. Let's go get some gas.